Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble podcast. It is Monday night, so that can only mean one thing. It is the phone-in. So we look for you guys in the comments, not to just chat in there, but to pick up the phone, make your point, and we will discuss it the best we can. I'm joined by the dream team. It is Mark, Kerr, and James. How we doing, boys? All right?
All good, mate. All good in the hood. How's yourself?
Oh, no bad. Listen, great to be back in the hot seat. It's been a long time coming, and we'll see how it goes. But before we go any further, I must say the show is brought to you tonight by Let Me Repair UK. Use them for all your mobile, tablet, laptop repairs. Stick in the search bar and marvel at the repair quality on offer. They are tech-tastic. So now that that's out the way, we can roll on with tonight's show. Number is 0141. Anybody help me with the rest of it? Is it 628? There we go, 7237. Pick up the phone, have your say. We love to get you involved. This is what this show's all about. We want to hear from you guys. It saves us making up the topics. You bring them on and we'll discuss anything you like, Rangers related or otherwise. I suppose that the place to start is probably the title of the show. Dujon Sterling, amongst a couple others, approaching the finish line, if reports are to believe, today on social media. He could be joined by Jack Butland and Cifuentes as early as being announced next week. Kerr, I'll come to you because you seem to, have your eye on the ball when it comes to player recruitment. What do you know about these three? And then let's start with Sterling in particular.
Left-sided centre-back, can play full-back as well. Athletic, physical, fast. Maybe distribution not the best, but he's only still a young kid. And good signing if he can get him. By all accounts, it is done. I think I'll just wait until the season kind of finished and his contract's kind of... Chelsea's obviously just... They made a new manager, haven't they, today? So they've got a business going on. So I think they're just waiting, but probably the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So it looks like it's done.
And Mark, the goalkeeping issues rumbled on throughout the whole season. Started last summer, obviously, after the Scottish Cup final, and it seems like they've never shut up about goalkeepers for the duration. So Jack Butland, is that one that excites you? Is that one that you'd be delighted to see get done?
Yeah, I think he's a good goalie. I think he's got decent pedigree. I think he's not played a lot of football in the last wee bit. So I was actually going to mention that. I thought that was brilliant. Didn't cut the mustard. Oh, the Willie cut the mustard. Brilliant. Aye. I think pedigree-wise, attribute-wise, very good goalkeeper. You don't get capped for England if you're not a very good goalkeeper. Only concern is that he's not played a lot of football in the last wee while, but still a good age as well. So, I mean, if you look at McGregor, we've got another 10 year at him at least. It's all good, yeah.
There was a wee tidbit, I think, last week of I think it was a Rangers fan, a bit of Man United game, and he'd sort of asked him, could we see it Glasgow Rangers next season? It was quite hard audio to digest, but it was maybe a we'll see kind of response. So it's certainly no ruled out, and I think playing with David De Gea can only make you better, you'd imagine, international goalkeeper, and he's been at the highest level for a long, long time. So James, you get the short storm, I'm afraid, mate, because I'm coming to you for Cifuentes. I'm struggling to say that, but you probably know as much as I know about him. We could write it in the back of a fag packet, couldn't we? What do you think of this guy? What do you know about him? What have you read about him? Do you think he's gonna come in and lift us?
I don't know much about him, mate. I'm just obviously for what they're obviously saying in the press about the boy, that he's young, hungry, attacking midfielder. Something that I think that we've been crying out, man. I think since Lawrence went out the team. Maybe in the same kind of mould as a Scotty Arfield, or even late in the box and stuff like that. So he's one that I don't know much about, but reading about him, mate, it is certainly exciting times.
I think what you say is right in terms of we need a freshness, don't we? And it's great to be talking about new names. And I know we've all said our goodbyes to the guys that maybe have played a big part over the last 4 or 5 years, certainly. Just touching on the weekend at St Mirren, Scott. So a routine win, nonetheless. But was it a relief just to say sort of goodbye to the season? What were your sort of overall thoughts watching the game?
I didn't see it live. I was at my son's birthday, but I've watched it back, and It was just an end of the season game. I mean, I thought we played okay, but I thought it's one more poor, to be honest with you. It was good to see Fashion getting a couple of goals, but we know what Fashion's like. He can score, he can miss. He's just one of these guys we can't really tell what he's going to do in either does Fashion. But it's good to see him getting a couple of goals. I thought we played okay, but it's good to get the season over with. I know that's no great sounding, but I think we're all looking forward to next season, because I think this season, after we get put out of the cups and we knew the league was over, it wasn't a case of that's it over with, but we started putting our heads into what's coming in the summer window and what's going to happen next season. Do you know what I mean? I think Michael Beale's been doing that since he's come in the door, to be honest with you. So hopefully the players come in. Not all of them will hit the ground running, to be honest with you, but hopefully most of them do, and we can get next season started with a bang.
No, absolutely. I think we're all in agreement there. Mark, just before we come on to your point, we've got a caller, first caller tonight. Dave doesn't say where he's from, but he's a Rangers man and he's waiting in line. Dave, how are we doing tonight? You all right? What's your point?
Corby. I'm from Corby.
You're from Corby? Oh, fantastic. How are we doing?
All right. I was up there. I'm up the road 3 times to watch the Rangers, but I want to put across to the panel, we must win that league next year. No doubt, because we need to show up next year and win that league. It's an important thing.
No, absolutely, Mark. What would you say to Dave there in terms of how important is it winning the league next season?
I think it's massive. I think that I've kind of went on record as well as saying that I know probably people are going to Dave's probably want to lynch me, but it might not happen. We're talking about bringing in a lot of players, and do you know what? In an ideal world, they'll all hit the ground running and we'll be flying right for the off. But generally, that doesn't happen. I know that people think that because we bring in lots and lots of players, that all of a sudden they're all going to gel and stuff. That's no how it works, unfortunately. And I think that probably one transfer window is not going to be enough. I think you're probably Beale's going to need maybe 2 or 3. I think every season is important. Silverware is definitely important. For me, it's vital that we win something. I would love us to win the league. I'm trying to be hold the reins back a wee bit and no kind of go full pelt into this, because it's bit me in the arse a couple of times in recent seasons. So hopefully that's going to be the case. It is very important. Silverware is an absolute must. I would love us to win the league, but I'm not 100%. I mean, let me get into pre-season, some friendlies, and maybe a couple of games under our belt till we see how this team's going to shape up, how it's going to look, what kind of formation we're going to be in, and kind of have a wee look at the players that are coming in. But here's hope. It is a massively important season ahead. Yes.
Dave, Mark touches there on recruitment. Any players you'd like to see coming in? Obviously, we touched on a few at the start of the show. I don't know if you were listening, but who's caught your eye in terms of the rumor?
I have been listening. I would like a few more players, because I think we need them, because next season is a must, And I agree with Mark. It might take 3 years before we even win the league.
That's a damning statement. You just say we must win the league next season. Now you say 3 years. Kerr, can we really wait 3 years? Is that acceptable?
No, not acceptable at all. If we don't win the league next season, Michael Beale could be out of a job. And that's sadly the fact that Rangers, if he finished second's not good enough. And I've said this before, I've said it to James, and James agreed with me. Europe to me is going to be an obstacle next season. Europe to me, I don't give a flying about Europe. I want the league back, nothing else. I know Europe gets his money, and gets a bit of prestige and stuff like that, but I want the league back, because we've only won one league. And how many years? So we need to get the league back. It's a bread and butter, and we need to make a challenge, and a certain challenge. We can't come next year and we come in January, February. This league's away again. Do you know what I mean? So we need to make a certain challenge next year, and that should be the main focus of Michael Beale, the board and everything, is the league, nothing else.
Dave, thanks for your call,
Scott,
mate.
can I ask you a question?
On you go, Dave.
You know what I mean? I'm fed up with these muppets. I want the league next year. I can't wait any longer, We need that league, And also, Scott, if you agree with me, that we must do it because they're only 2 behind us now. We need to win that league.
I mean, it's going to be tough, as we all know. I mean, we can't sit here and say Celtic are a poor team because they won the league again. I'm not saying there's a big gap, but there is a gap which we have to close. Obviously, they'll strengthen. We have to strengthen. But we're just going to his next season. I mean, you seen the league this season. Basically, between the games between ourselves. I mean, I know we finished 7 points, and you can maybe discount the last few games because the league was over. But the 7 points was the 2 defeats and the draw against them. If you look at it that way, do you know what I mean? So next season is going to come down to when we play them because we're beating everybody else. Michael Beale seemed to have got that right, beating everybody else. But it's just playing them. We need to beat them on a consistent basis, but we need to beat them when it counts. I know we beat them the last game, but it didn't count for anything. So to me, it's good to get that monkey off Beale's back, but it doesn't count anything. It has to be like a semi-final, a cup final, but especially in the league, we have to beat them when it counts.
Brilliant. Dave, we've got calls queuing. Delighted for your call tonight. Give us a call back some other time, all right? Cheers. That was Dave and Corby. I made some good points in terms of, we must win the league title next year. I think it's a given that we've, as you say, Kerr, Europe takes a back burner and your other 2 competitions do as well. You've got to go and get that league flag. I've got another call coming in, Martin. Not yet. I'm being told not yet. So I was just talking about the weekend's game. James, I'm going to come to you on this. Scott mentioned Fashion Sakala, and I know I don't want to hear non-pressure games. I just want to I think he's come into his own. Maybe the last 5-6 games, and maybe take a bit of confidence. What's your thoughts on his display and how big a part can he play next season?
He's one of the players, mate, that frustrates your life out. You may I put him in the same kind of bracket, mate, as Hadji. He'll do something absolutely brilliant, and then the next he'll fall at his own feet. I just think he's one of the players for me, mate. But his stats this season have been unreal. You can't take it away from the boy. He's been between him and Tav, mate. If it wasn't for their goals this season, where would we have been? Do you know what I mean? But Fashion does what Fashion does. Do you know what I mean, mate? He skins 2 guys and then puts it right onto the defender and let the defender knock it across the line. Do you know what I mean? So I think he can be a big.
Sorry, James, you mentioned his numbers there: 12 goals, 7 assists, and I kind of feel like his last few goals, the finishing's got better.
I just think that the one that he obviously hits off the certain player's backside and it rolls into the net. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're saying. He skins 2 guys, and then the only place that he can put it is obviously there. But don't get me wrong, it was a good goal, mate. He took it well, cracking Boffy, Ridvan. But next season, I do think he will be an important squad player for us. Either whether it's starting or obviously coming off the bench, mate, to use that pace he has, because his pace frightens teams. And you've seen it against Celtic, mate. They didn't know what to do with the guy, with him running at them. So next season, I think a good pre-season for him as well, and then hit the ground running.
Mark, I'll come to you in that, just in terms of, Fashion Sakala and given the fear into Celtic, is it a worry that we're sort of not being linked with strikers? Does that tell you that maybe he is going to play a bigger part than some would think next season?
No, I don't think. I think he'll be a squad player. I think he'll be an impact player, as the saying goes nowadays. I think that he's spots and fits. He plays. He's just far too inconsistent, and I think this is a major problem with the boy. I think there's a player in there. I think that if he could put all his good stuff together continuously over a season, I think it'd be an absolutely brilliant player. But he's got this tendency. I don't know whether it's lack of concentration but I said it the other night. He's the best worst player we've got. It's mad. As I said, he can do pieces of brilliance. Even you were saying about his finishing's improved. I've seen him score some great goals, great finishes, and then 10 minutes later he tries to shoot and it goes out for a throw-in. So I don't know. For me, I think that we have been linked with a few strikers. I said it last night in the Patreon pod that I think that we're probably where we're at. I don't think we're going to be buying finished articles. I don't think we can afford finished articles. I think a half decent finished article costs you £6 million upwards. I think what we're going to be doing is buying somebody that's got a decent goal scoring record, a la Morelos. So somebody young that's got a decent goal scoring record, that's got bags of potential, and hopefully we can bring him on. He can come to Rangers and hit the ground running. I think we'll probably be looking to maybe bring 2 of those types of players in. The other kind of upper echelons of what we're looking at is probably your boy Jerry Yates. I think he's probably going to be a 5 million, 6 million. So good goal scoring record in the Championship and a bad team. Maja is another one that's good, decent goal scoring record, decent pedigree, young potential, and is hopefully going to be a free if that's going to be the case as well. So for me, I think that us bringing in somebody that's going to hit the ground running is a must. But I think it's trying to find a balancing act between youth and experience, and obviously that kind of bringing somebody in that's probably not the finished article. So somebody that's got bags of potential with a decent goal scoring record.
Ken, I don't know if you saw that. So just before going any further, we've got another caller, Charles. Charles on the line. Doesn't say again where he's from, but Charles, delighted to have you on. What's your point tonight?
Hi, the panel. I'm from Glasgow, but Sakala. It's about Sakala. Okay, he scores a lot of goals, and a lot of people are saying he's scoring the big moments, and that's the worry I've got with him. And he's just not my cup of tea, to be honest. I don't think he's a Rangers player. The boy Montondo, I want to say about him as well. He can't settle in Glasgow. It was his own words. He can't settle in Glasgow, so I think we're better moving him on as well.
Ger, do you want to come in there?
Listen, I think Fashion's taking a bit of a bad rap. Listen, I'm not saying he's a first teamer because I don't think he's anywhere near the first team, but he has. People say he's inconsistent. He's not inconsistent. He's just consistent at what he does. He's got a good side and a bad side, but he's consistent at what he does because he can add to the team at times. He's probably better coming on as a sub for me and coming on in certain games. I mean, you've seen him at Ibrox against Celtic. He was really good, and he kind of changed the game for a part of it. But I don't think he's a starter. I think we will bring in a starting striker, but I think it will be later in the window. I think because it'll be somebody might be spending money on. Now we're just going to go with the guys who's out of contract that we can bring in. But I think later down the window we will bring a striker in. Will cost money, so it just depends who we're bidding against. As for Matondo, we don't see enough for Matondo. I don't think he's a starting player either. I think for what I've seen before, I didn't think he was that good, to be honest with you. I know he cost a lot of money when Schalke bought him, and I never think he had anything. He's got pace, but he didn't really have an end product at times. So, listen, it's easy enough to say get other guys, but you can only get other guys if people want to buy them off you, or people want to take their wages. If nobody's willing to do that, then we're stuck with him as well. So, I think Michael will go and get the players he needs for the positions he wants, most importantly. And whoever's left, he's going to have to use the pieces like a jigsaw and building about his kind of spine. And I think that's what we'll do. But I think a striker will come later. And I think we'll bring in somebody who will score his goals.
Charles, just obviously we've been talking about transfers tonight. I mean, is there anyone out there that kind of caught your eye that you'd like to see Michael Beale chase in the summer?
Well, they're all talking about this boy as a Honduran. They're all talking about that Honduran boy. He's supposed to be something special. I'd like to maybe see him come in because we've no had a attack midfielder that hits off a keeper and gets round about the 6-yard box and sticks in the back of the net. We've not had anything like that really. Maybe Arfield to a degree, but nothing else.
Mark, you're up to speed on this Honduran boy, aren't you?
Yeah, the boy's called Palma. He's by all accounts, he's very much a left-sided. I think he can play in both wings, but he's very much a left-sided, kind of similar to Ryan Kent, but he's maybe a Ryan Kent that can score goals. I've heard reports after reports of him being man of the match in Greece and scoring from corners and direct for corners and free kicks, and so I think that I'm hoping he's going to be an upgrade in Kent. If you can get a Ryan Kent that scores goals, we're in a right good place. So that's kind of what I've heard. That he's in that kind of a mould. He looks like a really good player. I don't think he's going to come cheap, but I think that we need some quality in the final third. I think probably that's what we've been lacking this whole season. So for me, it looks like a really good acquisition if we can get him. Still no cut and dry, I don't think, with this one, but as I said, for me, he's probably the one so far that we've been linked with that kind of excites me.
Charles, thanks for your call tonight. Call again, won't you? It was nice having you on.
Cheers.
No worries. Guys, just CRS obviously just put a comment in there about the boy Palmer. Previous put a point in something that broke earlier on from a source on Twitter. Now, not the most reliable source on Twitter, I must say. However, Sam Lammers, I believe, and Cyril Dessers, two players linked from Serie A, have done a bit of sort of looking at their stats. Neither of which have been massively prolific, but as a striking option, James, again, I'm giving you the short straw, mate, all night. Sorry, pal. Do you know much about these chaps? Is there anything there that sort of caught your eye?
Just with what I was looking up earlier on the day about them. I think one of them's out in loan at, he's at Atlanta. He's been out in loan at Sampdoria, I believe. Again, mate, don't really know too much about him. I'm sure obviously somebody in the chat and stuff like that will probably come in with stats and the likes. And the other boy, I know he's a Belgium born, but he's a Nigerian internationalist. 3 caps and he scored 1 goal or something for his international country. So again, mate, don't know much about him either. So, but I'm just hoping, mate, that Bale's going to pick a diamond out of somewhere, mate, and come in and he's going to get that 20, 25 goal a season goal scorer that we've been crying out for now for years.
The two of them, what I did notice is they're both over 6 foot. Does that maybe say that Michael Beale is looking for somebody to maybe hold it up and bring the players in around him, into play, Keir?
I think that's what he likes, Robert. I think he likes a guy who can maybe run the channels, hold the ball up, bring others into play, can get you goals as well. But as you know, getting somebody that good is going to cost a lot of money these days. Even 10, 20 million, you want to get you a half-decent striker depending where you shop. So I think he's going to have to be clever. And sometimes looking at stats for guys doesn't help because sometimes stats don't tell you the full story. You have to actually see the guy play. But listen, I think he'll get it right. I think he'll bring somebody in who'll add the wee piece to the team we're looking for. We might have to give the striker time, but I think he'll bring somebody in. He could also be going to bed every night praying Kemar Roof stays fit, but what chance is that? Probably not a lot of chance for that. Listen, somebody just mentioned Jonathan Panslow there. I was kicking about as well, but he's another centre-back, mostly left-sided, but he can play right-sided. So we're looking at centre-backs because Austin Trusty's been mentioned as well. So who I really like, I have to say Austin Trusty. So I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe he's working for the back forward. Maybe try to get a spine in the team, goalkeeper, defence, midfield, and then finish up at the top. So hopefully he gets it right. That's all we can hope for, Robert. Give us a squad of guys who give us 100% every game and challenging right to the death. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can't win every game and we don't go to a football match and think we're going to win this easy. But all we want is a Rangers team to go out, challenge, give 100%. If we get beat, we accept it. But it's worse getting beat when you see the players in the park chucking it at times.
Absolutely. Guys, don't forget to get your calls in 01416287237. Great time to call. You could be on next. Mark, just again on the weekend, I don't want to sort of dine out on it too much, but John Souttar, we must sort of discuss how important he's been over the last few games.
Yeah, he's been an absolute rock. I think he's been our best player probably out with Cantwell over the last couple of games. Great with the ball at his feet, and what I love about him is he flings himself at balls. He puts his body in a line. He's brave. We've not had centre halves that do that for a long time. And I think that it shows how brave he is when he does things like that. And we all know his injury record, and he's still no scared to fling his body where it hurts. So for me, he's been absolutely outstanding. Just a shame that probably the season's ended when it has, because obviously I think he was kind of getting a head of steam under his belt, and I think he was starting to really look the part. For me, it's a wee bit I'm a wee bit disappointed that he's not left-footed, but he can play on the left as well. So look, if he keeps fit, he's going to be a smashing player next season. There's no doubt about that. That's him getting a call up to the Scotland squad as well. So as I said, it just shows you how good this boy is. I've got a good friend on here that's a mad Hearts fan, and his comment to me yesterday was, if this boy could keep fit, he would be top echelons of the game. He is that good.
No, he sounds your heart's part sounds like he talks a bit of sense for once. We've got another caller. I'm delighted to say Ian, one of my favourite callers from Denmark, is on the line. Ian, how you keeping? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, Robert. How are you?
Aye, brilliant. Glad you're back on. What's your point tonight for the boys?
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 points actually. The first one is I'm kind of looking forward to getting rid of a lot of the deadwood, as you would. Some people call it. Maybe some people have got a wee bit attached to some of the players we've had, and I'm just looking forward to getting a clean slate and moving them out, like Kent, Morelos, and I know that there was some good memories, but I think it's good that they're moving on and we're removing them and putting in some fresh faces instead. One of the things that we've been thinking about is Kamara. He must be, the way he's been the way he just disappeared shortly after Beale came in. I'm guessing he must have a contract somewhere else. You can't just disappear and just play that badly and expect that he's going to get picked up by some club in the summer. I think there must be some deal already done. What do you think about that?
James, I'll come to you with that. Glenn Kamara, obviously not hit the dizzy heights that he once did under Steven Gerrard, but what do you think about Ian's point about him possibly having a deal lined up to move away?
I don't know, mate, but it's like anything, you know what I mean? Players, mate, can go to the dizzy heights. Look at Lundstrom, you know what I mean? He's went for being the primary mate in Europe last year, been one of the best players in the team, then came right off it. Kamara's been the same. At times, Kamara, he's either an 8 or a 9 out of 10, or he's a 3 or 4 out of 10. The guy just can't get that consistency, mate, of being like just a 7. For me, if an offer did come in for Kamara, I think I would probably bite the horn off, and obviously ship him on, mate, and obviously try and get some new faces in with that money.
Ian, you said you had another point as well.
Yeah. I just hope this never happens again, where we're getting in that situation where we've got so many, I'll call it again, deadwood, so many players who have been hanging around too long. I think it's important that you have to change, change the faces, get in some new faces, and there's just too many guys been hanging around, like the ones I mentioned, Kamara, Kent, Morelos. I know Jack's got a 1-year extension, but Arfield, Davis, McGregor, Tav, Golden, Borna, even Lundstrom and Fashion have been around for a few years now. Just we need to freshen it up every year, and I think there's just too many players who have been hanging about too long, just going through the motions. And I hope Beale doesn't end up doing this again in 2 or 3 years or 3 or 4 years' time, where we've got the same faces turn up. And you know what it's like when you get a new job and you're just, you get right in there. And if you've been in a job for a long time, it's the same old faces, the same things happening. And I think there's just way, way too many players been hanging around for way too long.
Ken, I think we've all been in agreement on this podcast for a while that there's been a bit of sentiment since 55, etc., etc. But I think lessons have been learned. Do you think we will see a better turnover and maybe players being lined up for positions when players are already on their way, kind of thing? Forward planning is probably what I want to say. Better forward planning.
We have to, and I think that's going to be one of the reasons why Ross Wilson and Stuart Robertson aren't here anymore. I think we have to we have to be a club where if we sign somebody and they perform well, say for a season and a half, and get an offer in, we shouldn't really be turning offers down. We should be taking the money if it's a really good price, taking it and then bringing somebody else as a replacement, and also have your eye on players in case somebody does leave. I don't think we were doing that in the past, but at the time we got offers for Kent, Kamara and Morelos. If it had been sold, a lot of fans would have been happy with that either, Robert. You've got to remember that. So it depends what side of the coin you're looking at time. Do you know what I mean? So I think we have to be more forward thinking, and I think that's why, like I say, Ross Wilson's, Stuart Robertson's not here anymore. So I'll see what way the club goes. Do they go back to a director of football? Do they just bring somebody in to help Michael Beale with the transfer side? I'm not sure where they're going to go.
Ian, last time I was on, I didn't have the joy of being the host and driving the show, but I can maybe ask you the question I wanted to ask you last time. Living in Denmark, you must watch the Danish top flight. Is there no players there that Rangers could be maybe caught your eye that you think Rangers could be picking up for cheap and selling on for millions?
No, I remember the question. Yeah. The short answer is no. I don't watch it because I've only got so much time to watch so much football, and I watch the English Premier League, and I watch your games, and I watch the odd other Scottish game. But I think there's tons of scouts here in Denmark. I stay in a little town outside another little town, and they had a great player who was only 17, and already he get found out how good he was and get snapped up by Ajax at 17. So I think you have to have a scout in sort of under 16 games or something to be quick, because it's not like a little backwater where all of a sudden these superstars turn up and you can buy them for £1 million. There's scouts from all over Europe watching the leagues here, and especially the younger players where they hope they can snap them up for a couple of million. So yeah, Kasper Dolberg. He's from a very small town where I live, and signed for Ajax as a 17-year-old. So yeah,
that's what you'll be looking out on next year's.
You have to be fast.
Ian, listen, thanks for calling.
Can I just jump in,
One
Robert?
last question.
Yeah.
One last question. Tillman, right? If we sign, where does he play? I'm looking at the last few games, and I'm watching Cantwell playing the sort of attacking midfielder number 10 role. Do we need two of them? If it was up to me, I would sign Tillman. But yeah. Can we fit both of them in?
When you go, Mark, take it away.
Yeah, well, just before I answer that question, whereabouts are you, Ian? I worked in Denmark for a few years, 3.5 years.
Silkeborg.
I was in Esbjerg and Billund.
Just outside
Where are you?
Silkeborg.
Right, cool.
In Silkeborg.
It's not a cheap place to live, is it?
No, but you get paid more.
No. I know. To answer your question, Tillman is, I think probably the price on Tillman is probably going to be an issue, wasn't it? Not that we can't afford it. I think that we could use this money better elsewhere. I think, like you say, I think Cantwell's kind of we've spent 1.5 million in Cantwell, and he's doing a job, and probably arguably better than Tillman was doing it. So I think to spend 5 million and bring somebody in to do the same kind of job, I think that if you look at it, you've got Cantwell, you've got Hadji that can play in there, you've got Lowry that can play in there, and you've got Tom Lawrence coming back that can play in there as well. So I think, why are we spending 5 million on a player that obviously we've got a 4, bring in our 5th player that can play in that position? I know that he can play a little bit deeper as well, and I think that for me, I don't think it's money well spent. As I said, I think that he's a great player. I think that at 2 million, I'd bite the hand off you for it. I think at 5 million, I'd rather spend that 5 million on a striker, or here's a novel idea. What about a right-sided attacking midfielder? What about that? Remember them?
But do you think Cantwell could play a little bit deeper with Tillman forward, as in asking Cantwell and then Tillman a 3?
Yeah, they've done it in the past. But as I said, I think as well, the other one we're forgetting I never mentioned was Dowell's come in. Dowell can do both, can play as an 8 or can play as a 10. So he's another one that can play the exact same position. So for me, I think that he's probably not going to sign. I think if he's signing, I don't see the business sense in that. I think that, all right, you maybe get your money back, but see if this boy comes in at 5 million and does not hold down a game in the team, then how do you make money on him? I think that if he comes in and there's 2 players in that position, then he plays, and he plays well, then you sell him on for lots of money. But if he's got 4 5 of them fighting for that position. I can't. It doesn't make good sense to me to spend that kind of money. I'd rather spend it in a wide player or an attacker. To be fair, it looks like our defence is pretty much sorted now that Sterling's coming in, and there's the boy Trusty as well possibly coming in. So for me, the money can be spent better elsewhere.
Ian, brilliant.
Sure, I'll let you go. I can see Roberts. He's waiting patiently for me to finish so I can get something else on. So talk to you later, guys. Bye.
All the best, Ian.
Thanks for watching. Cheers. I thought it was turning into an episode. I wish you were here there with Mark and Ian there on reminiscing about Denmark. Okie dokie. Aye. So great point actually about Malik Tillman. Kerr, I know you spoke earlier in the day privately about if he's no coming, it is sort of time to sort of move on and maybe draw a line under it. We've had Lee Wright. He's following this on Instagram. He's took this picture down on Instagram. It's been a roller coaster with Lee all week about Malik Tillman, but the caller made a great point there. Like, where does he play, and is the price tag the thing that puts us off getting him?
First of all, the price tag isn't his fault. That's just what the clubs agree. So it's nothing to do with Malik himself. But I wouldn't bother me if he never came back. See if he comes back, good. He done well when he was here, and that's good. With another good player that can come into the side. But I agree with Mark. I'd rather go elsewhere and look for somebody. I'd rather, as other positions, I feel we're more urgent than bringing in Malik Tillman because we're well covered in that area. I don't know if people might disagree, but I think we're well covered in that area. I feel we lack in other areas more. So listen, if he comes back, that's good. But if he doesn't, then we've got $5 million to spend on other positions, which to me is far more important. But like I say, that's just my opinion. But like I say, it's not his fault, a $5 million price tag, so I wouldn't put anything on him for that.
Spend $5 million in getting this bit. I'd be pushing my luck at 3, to be honest with you. We are the people there in the comments. James, here you go. Malik Tillman, I think Mark, it was a great point. Kieran Dill's come in as well. I think the Tillman boat sailed, right?
I think so, mate. He's I know his stats were really, really good, but for me, mate, he didn't show up against that mob, and that's what you'll get. It doesn't matter where you date against Dundee United, St Mirren or St Johnstone, mate. If you don't turn up against that mob, then the chances are, mate, we ain't winning the league, and you're not going to get signed on a long permanent contract with Rangers. So for me, as Mark says, we need to go and get a striker, mate. And if that means spending £5-6 million on a goal scorer, then I would rather see the money go there and get the 20-25 goals a season and striker in, rather than going out and spending money on a position that we're fully covered in now, mate.
No, absolutely. But Mark, the point about spending $5 million in Nisbet, you've spoke about Kevin Nisbet before. Is that something you see happening really? Because there's been no sort of strong links. Michael Beale's never really spoke about players in Scotland, has he? What do you think to that one? Is that just us sort of drawing it up on Twitter and the like?
I think so. I think Nisbet's a smashing player. I really do. I think that, like somebody said there in the comments, if you can get him for $1 million, 1.5 million, I would definitely take a punt on him, 100%. We've done it in the past. Rangers teams, we've cherry picked the best players, and for me, outside the old firm, he's probably the best striker in the league, as far as I'm concerned. I know Van Veen scored goals and blah 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 and this and that, but for me, he's all round play. If you watch him as a footballer, he's quick. He's got good movement. He's a great finisher. He can bully defences. He's decent in the air. So for me, $1.5 million, no brainer. But are they going to sell him to us for that kind of money? That's my thing. And does Beale fancy him? For me, he's kind of similar to the players that we've supposedly been linked with. So I don't know. Is there the only thing that kind of is in the back of my head is that Nisbet's had a couple of bad injuries. He seems to have come back okay from them, but we've all seen it. We've all seen players get cruciates and stuff, and they're half a yard short or a pace, and so that for me is the only thing that's maybe a kind of wee kind of question mark over him. But I would take him, as I said, for £1 million, the 1.5 million every day of the week. I would take him 100%.
I think injury records loom over every signing we make. Do they know? But every time we get linked to a name, we're looking at their injury history. But no, somebody just said there, does Kevin Nisbet want to sign for Rangers? Well, he'd be a daft boy not to want to sign for Rangers, surely. You're playing at Hibs at the minute. Playing for Rangers is a step up, European football, trophies, etc., etc. Am I right?
It's the rest of Scotland, Robert. Strange things happen in the west of Scotland.
Very, very true. Will we see the old Tom Lawrence again, James? It's been a bad injury, obviously. That he's going to be a wee bit behind schedule. The last time I heard Michael Beale speaking, maybe a couple of weeks behind the rest of the boys in pre-season. Does that put maybe an over-reliance on no selling Yanis Hadji till we know we've got Tom Lawrence back, or how do they both feed into one another?
For me, I hope Lawrence does come back, mate, and because he was looking a very, very good player when he was there. He was making the late runs into the box and scoring the odd goal or two. Again, mate, it could just be one of these freak injuries that he's picked up in the training ground, and the guys just obviously just kept picking up stupid niggling injury after it. But again, hopefully we've no rushed him back. We give the boy time to come back into the team, settle in, and obviously make his mark next season. Going on about Hadji, mate, he's one of the players that just, I think he frustrates the Rangers support. So he does. I just think that, but he's one of the players that will try that killer pass for me. And I think it's something that we've been crying out for. And for me, I would give Hadji up to about Christmas to see what he can obviously bring into the team with a good pre-season as well. And then obviously take it for there, mate.
Brilliant. 0141 628 7237. Get your calls in. We've got about 20 minutes left. We'd love to hear from you and get the lads' opinions on your points. Lads, obviously the curtains come down the season. The season is now complete. I just wanted to maybe get a wee sort of debrief, if we can, just about where it went wrong, what was good, and you bits and bobs that you could pinpoint. So we'll come to you, Mark, because I know you're chomping at the bit. I can see you rattling there. The season as a whole, and what's kind of went wrong to start with.
I asked this the other night as well, and I struggled to answer that. Where did it all go wrong? Where did it go wrong? For me, I think probably the biggest thing, and I think it's been our biggest problem over the last couple of years is we're recruitment or lack of. Is that I know we brought players in, but I think that we never kind of. I know it's a cliche, and I know we've said it a million times, but that whole fixing the roof while the sun shines thing. For me, we never done it. For me, we brought in squad players instead of bringing in first team players. If that makes sense, I think for me, maybe I'm just reading it wrong. Maybe I'm just looking back from the point of view of the players that we brought in never had good seasons. I think that, but for me, I think the likes of Matondo never done it. The only one probably was Lawrence. Lawrence looked as if he was going to be the real deal. But same again, Lawrence was brought in, tried and tested, down south, decent age as well, coming into his prime as a player. So for me, that was the type of players that we should have been bringing in. That kind of 26, 27, tried and tested, experienced, could hit the ground running, which is exactly what Lawrence done. I think that probably the relationship with Gio and Ross Wilson was a factor as well. I think Ross Wilson, we don't really know what happened there, but it didn't look as if Gio had the fight or was willing to no stand up as such, but kind of fight for what he wanted and what he believed in. I think he was very accepting in what he was getting offered as players. I think lack of form as well has been massive this season. I think too many players. I think I said it before as well. Too many players knew that they were going at the end of the season. I think too many players were left to stagnate. I think that the likes of Kamara. I don't know. Somebody said it earlier. I think it was Kerr said it earlier, or yourself said it earlier about possibly getting a move and maybe it not happening or chucked it. As I said, Lundstrom as well went for the best on earth to being absolutely atrocious. So we could be here all day talking about what went wrong. me personally, I would like to talk about the positives. For me, I think the positive. Are you shushing me?
Hold that thought, because just take a wee breath on the positives. All right, we're going to come to that in a minute. Obviously, just on the phone and quickly, because it's very, very important. The season's finished, and we really want to carry on bringing you, debate throughout the close season. And the phone in's the best place to get involved. So we want to do this every Monday night at 7:30 here on YouTube, with you guys watching, and obviously, hopefully, picking up the phone like Ian in Denmark did, and giving us an opinion and really getting the show off the ground. So. Yeah, we can only make it happen if you guys call. So 01416287237 is the place to get on. Great timing. £5 super chat from Stephen Gillespie. Cheers, Stephen. Cantwell, Hadji, Lawrence, Lowry, and maybe Tillman. That's five. That's 5 at the 10 position. How many do we need in the 10 spot? And who are they? James, tackle that one, mate.
Well, I think Lowry will be sent out on loan. The one that's going to, for me, the one that will start there will be Cantwell. It's Cantwell's shirt to lose now. But the good thing about Cantwell as well is he can play. Yeah, I think the guy can play anywhere. He's that good. Tom Lawrence is going to be a couple of weeks behind the rest of the squad. Hadji, I don't think will get in ahead of Cantwell. And obviously we've got Dowell and all making an appearance, and obviously I've heard Mark a few times obviously saying that a few of his Norwich pals have obviously said that this boy's even better than Cantwell, and I've got to say if he's half as good as Cantwell, then we've got a stormer player coming in, put it that way.
Cares, shaking his head in disbelief. Ken, I wanted to come to you about players. I'll let you touch on Stephen's point first, but just after that, in terms of what Mark was saying about recruitment's probably where it went wrong. On that, the summer recruits from last year, how many of them, would we persist with again next season, and can we get any more out of them?
It's up to the manager. I think the problem this season was Gio was too soft. Gio was too nice. He was a nice guy. Didn't want to upset the apple cart. Didn't want to shout at guys. I think his training was too relaxed. He wanted to play a nice Dutch style, didn't he? Like, we'll go back to the horseshoe, whatever. Know what I mean? And it's good to watch at times when he gets it right, but it's no for the Scottish League. And we were a soft touch in the league, and the players. I don't think the players run through a brick wall for him. I thought some of the players chucked it. And I thought if he didn't have got us to a European final, he probably wouldn't have been there at the start of the season. But that saved his bacon to an extent. But we held on to him too long as well. We should, after the Celtic defeat, we should have got rid of him. But we held on to him for a good few games after that, and we didn't let him go. And then by the time we brought in Bale, it's kind of he's chasing a lost cause, basically. And you've seen what he done with the players that was there. They upped our game to a point, and we ended up with 92 points, like somebody said, which was, could have won your league some other years. But obviously, when it came to the crunch, the games you have to win, the squad were short. So I think some of the players will still be. Obviously, Suter's going to still be in. He's going to be, if he stays fit as John's going to be one of the guys at the back. Because I think Ben Davies will go, just depending on who he brings in. But I think he will go 3 at the back. Cholak, I don't know. Cholak can get you goals, but I still don't know if he's going to be a first team starter under Michael Beale. I think Michael Beale likes somebody more mobile, maybe more physical than Cholak is, but to me, Cholak's just a penalty box player, and I don't think Michael Beale wants that unless, depending on the formation he's going to play. I mean, there's guys here, we all know they can't get everybody, so there's going to be guys here Michael Beale's going to have to use, and he'll use them wisely, and it just depends on the players he brings in. But listen, I'm looking forward to it because I don't think we can get any worse. I mean, 92 points is a good total, because I done where we were when he came through the door, and it was just because we lost to Robert in the 3 games to Celtic, do you know what I mean? And if it was to anybody else, the fans wouldn't have took it as bad, but when you lose to them, and when you look back, and that's a game that kind of put the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. So, but I think you will get it right. Like I said, yeah, they'll improve, we'll improve, but I think you have to be a right mentality to play for Rangers, and I think if you're seeing younger players, more dynamic players, and guys who have no experience getting beat with them, like we said before, Cantwell and Askin don't feel them, especially Cantwell. He has respect for them, but in a way whereas he's got an arrogance about it. He'll go into the park and he'll say, I'm the best player in this park. I don't care who I'm playing against, I'm the best player in this park. Barry Ferguson had that as well. Do you know what I mean? When Barry played, so you need players like that. You don't have guys who go into a part and think, God, people will beat them in the last 5 games. I want to get beat again. That has to go out your mind. So I think it just depends who you bring in. But I think Michael will get it right. But I think it will take time as in between now and when the season starts, because still going into pre-season looking for a striker, because I think they're very hard to find. And we're not going to be the only club that's bidding for players, remember?
No, listen, you say he's going to get it right. He has to get it right. He really has to get it right. Mark, I'm going to come back to you and let you fill us with positivity. You were busting and chopping a bit and I cut you short, mate. But I just wanted to tie off the negativity with the other 2 chaps before you come in and fill our hearts with joy and optimism.
Yeah, I think the positives to the season is I think we get short of the dead wood. I think Gio going. I think I totally agree with Scott. Far too nice a guy, and no fault of his own. I think that I don't think he had the respect of some of the players, and when that happens, it's a downhill struggle. For me, the positives we get shot of Gio, and a massive positive for me, and probably Kerr's going to agree with me. It's going to be like some sort of a freak. All we've done is agree or pod, but Ross Wilson as well. Another positive for me getting shot at him. I think that I think we didn't really realise where it was all. I think this season it started becoming clear that this was an issue. There was something that wasn't quite right. I think when he went, we brought Beale in. I think Beale has got a better tune out of some of these players that I think had chucked it. 100% had chucked it under Gio. So for me, Beale, there's been signs of positivity, signs of regeneration from Beale. Tactically, we've looked more solid defensively. We still don't look great, don't get me wrong, but we've looked better defensively. We've looked as if tactically we've been a wee bit better as well. I think there's been progression there. I think Cantwell and Raskin's been massive bonuses this season. I think that moving forward into next season, I think these are going to be 2 absolute amazing players for us. I think that I think our only problem is that they're going to be that good. I think we're going to struggle to keep hold of them. But as long as we get stupid money for them, I'm happy for them to go, because I think that's what we need to realise as a fan base. That's where we're at. So for me, that's a positivity. We seem to be progressing. We've kind of gave them a bloody nose across the road as well, which is good. Although it wasn't in anger, so to speak. But that for me is a positive. And looking forward, looking at the amount of players that we're looking to bring in, and they all look like decent signings, and they all look like they're signing for a purpose rather than just we're signing players for the sake of it. I think there's hopefully going to be a good mixture of youth and hungry youth, and talent and people that are hungry and looking to a bit of mobility in the middle of the park. I think we've lacked that all season as well. So that for me is a positive. The other positive for me is as well that one of the callers said we're getting rid of a lot of deadwood as well, and I think it was well overdue. So for me, that's the positives of this season. I know we're trying to it's like a needle in a haystack trying to pick positives from it, but I'm a half full type of guy, and trying to look on the bright side, trying to look positive. As I said, and we're coming into silly season, which I love.
Well, speaking of positives, we've still got time for one last call. If you want to get it in, 01416287237. You'll be straight into me and the guys, and we'll have a wee chat to sign off the show.
Can I just answer William? Of
course you can. Fire away, Mark.
I never said any specific players has improved. We've improved as a team. We've improved defensively. We've improved tactically. I never mentioned any player that's improved under him.
Kerr, I just wanted to come to you. Obviously, the Connor Goldson injury, and I think it maybe feeds into a bugbear for me in the sense that I don't think I've seen a playing style as such as what Michael Beale maybe promised when he first came in the door. Rumour that we might go to a 3 at the back, push Tavernier forward, have Ridvan forward as well. Does this Goldson injury set that back somewhat?
No, if he gets the right guys in, if you get Suter there, and everybody's looked at it now. He's been, I think, 3 or 4 has been centre backs. I can play a centre back position. There's a left centre back, right centre back. So I think we'll be fine. I think Goldson will be a big miss. You've seen when he was out previously how much we missed him. So I think a 3-at-back suits Michael Beale's style, and I think a 3-at-back suits us. I mean, I prefer a 3-at-back myself, but that's just my own opinion. I know 4-4-2 was what we all put under years ago, and everybody loved the old 4-4-2 with two wingers and the big man, the wee man up front. That was top quality, but football's changed, that way. So I think 3-at-back gives us defensively a wee bit better cover, because your two centre-backs can go and cover right positions. You can still get one in the centre, and you just drop back a midfielder. I've just seen Lundstrom doing previously, so I think that would work for us. Then maybe we'll have to put two holding midfielders, Robert, which is my big bugbear.
James, picture the scene. The European qualifiers come round as fast as they do, and we're lining up with a back three, and it reads Davies, Suter, King. How confident are you?
No comment.
Depends opposition.
You need to comment. That's why you're on the podcast.
I don't think King will be anywhere near the team, mate. I think he's another one that will be out on loan. It'll do the boy the world a good to get games under his belt, but at a good level. None of this tramp to the Championship in Scotland or anything like that. Get him down south and get the games under his belt for the boy. I think obviously Suter, the big man's made me eat my words, and I'm the most overjoyed Rangers fan that he's managed to do that for me, because I thought when he came in, made the howler against Celtic, I thought, oh, this is only going to go one way. But he certainly made me grow to love the big man. So for me, he'll be a first pick next year. And if Golson's fit, it'll be him and Golson at the back. I think Ben Davies is a good player, but if we can get 4 million back for him, then I'd be quite happy to let him go. And then obviously the boy, is it a boy for Birmingham or something like that? Can't remember his name now. Trusty. To bring him in, and then obviously see where we go for there, mate.
Well, Ali's breaking news there that Davies is going to Luton Town, newly promoted to the English Premier League. Is that one you could see happening, Kerr? Is that one you've heard anything about? I'll unmute you before you start.
It's a good move for Benefit Harms getting into the English Premiership, isn't it? Listen, I think Ben Davies is a really good footballer. I think maybe a Scottish game's maybe just too physical for him, whereas the English Premiership's not as physical, up against better players, obviously, and it's quicker, but I don't think the physicality is as bad as up here, so I think he could down there and, listen, that'll be a good move for Luton, because Luton have got, obviously they've got more money because they've got into the Premiership, but they're not going to be spending mega bucks, so I think that could be a good pick-up for them.
Mark, just on James's point there, that he's already punted Lowry in loan, by the way. Now he's punting King out in loan. Is that something you see? Because I think Leon King's looked okay in the last few games, especially at Easter Road. I thought he played well.
I think he's good backup. I think I can see why. James has said that. Get them some game time under their belt, but I think probably the likes of Lowry and King, I think they're going to add to our quota for homegrown and stuff like that for Europe. So I think they're just sneak in age wise as well. I would like, selfishly, I would keep them if they help us with a quota. If they don't, I would 100% put them in loan, try and get them some game time, and hopefully they can come back and fight for a place, because I don't see them. I think I very much, I said it the other night as well, I very much feel that Beale is, show me you're good enough. If you're good enough, you will get in this side. I think that he's kind of flung a gauntlet down to him and said that I'm not just going to put you in because you're young and the fans want me to put you in. I'll put you in if you're good enough. And I think it's up to them to kind of rise to that challenge. And let's face it, they should be proving that they're good enough. That's the whole point of the transition from youth into the first team. You go in there and you show the manager that you're better than what's put in front of you. So for me, that's what they need to do. It's this quota thing. I don't like it. I don't see the point in it. I understand what they're trying to do with it, but it seems like we're going to leave players out for the sake of getting young Scottish players in that only realistically part of that first team squad and have got a realistic chance of playing 5 or 6 games in Europe for us.
I can understand your concerns. One that would like to see King and Lowry.
Well, but I think you must come to an age where if you've not played enough first team games at any club, but you have to look after yourself and you have to say I need to go. You can't keep sitting on the bench or playing with the B team. It's not going to improve them. It's going to make them stale. It's going to make them frustrated. And I think if that's the case, and I'm not going to get game time next season at all, or I'm going to be told, listen, you were sitting on the bench, but not a lot else. I think for their own sake and for their own football and development, Leon and Alec are going to have to say, listen, I need to go somewhere. It's a case we give them out on loan and we just sell them. Because other young players you can sit on the bench to fill that quota. Do you know what I mean?
Well, listen, we will watch this space. Listen, lads, that's the end of tonight's phone-in. Thanks for joining me. I will say, following this one is the women's show at 9 o'clock with Wilf, Bryan and Carr. They'll be chatting over the cup final and also Malky Thompson's imminent exit, I suppose, for the managerial post. Patreon shows every single day. Don't forget to sign up and enjoy them as well. But listen, as I said, every Monday, 7:30, the phone will be here on YouTube, and we'll love having you. So, gents, thanks for tonight, Mark, Kerr, and James. Pleasure. And we'll see you again soon.